Hello everyone! So before I'm going to dive with our topic for today, I just want to give you a brief discussion for our lesson. So let's start with what? What is our lesson for today? When was it actually published? Where was it published? And who published it? Why did she publish it and how it helped to the people? The book Noli Tangere is the first novel of our beloved Philippine national hero, Dr. Jose P. Rizal. It was published when he was 26 years old in Europe in a year 1887 during the colonization of Philippines by the Spanish Empire to describe perceived iniquities of the Spanish Catholic friars and the ruling government. It was established to make Filipinos aware about the abuses perpetrated by priests during the Spanish period, as well as the abuses that took place in society during the time when we were still under foreign rule. And this book has become an instrument for Filipinos to build a national identity. The title Noli Me Tangere is derived from Latin word means do not twist or touch me. It is quoted from John 20:17, where Jesus said to Mary Magdalene, "Do not turn me away, for I have not yet ascended to my Father." This novel was written by Jose Rizal and published in 1887. Next here are the list of important characters or what you call the key personnel on the novel. Crisostomo Ibarra, a young man who studied in Europe. He was Maria Clara's childhood and girlfriend. He is a symbol of educated Filipino who can be considered progressive and modern. Maria Clara, the gentle lover of Crisostomo Ibarra, the jewel of San Diego who was adopted by her mother Doña Pia Alba to Padre Damaso. Next, Padre Damaso, the real father of Maria Clara. He is a priesthood in the Catholic Church. Capitan Tiago. He is one of the richest property owner in Manila and San Diego. He was a merchant, pretentious, and always obedient to his superiors. Elias, a banker and a helper of Ibarra to meet his people and its problems. Sisa, Crispin, and Basilio. Sisa is the mother of Crispin and Basilio. Crispin and Basilio, they are brothers and they were the sacristan and bell ringer in the San Diego Church. Pilosopo Tasio. He referred to as a philosopher because his ideas were accurate with the minds of townspeople. And lastly, Doña Victorina. She was a socialite and friend of Capitan Tiago.
Okay, good day everyone. I'm Kula Jane Denzel, your second reporter for today's topic, which is the Noli Me Tangere. A little background of the story, just like what my other group made report, it is written in Spanish and published in the year of 1887. It contains 63 chapters and an epilogue. So, this Jose Rizal's Noli Me Tangere played a crucial role in the political history of the Philippines, drawing from experience, the conventions of the 19th century novel, and the ideas of European liberalism. Rizal offered up a devastating critiques of a society under the Spanish colonial rule. So for this slide, as it states here that the plot revolves around Crisostomo Ibarra, a mixed-race heir of a wealthy clan, returning home after 7 years in Europe and filled with ideas on how to better the lot of his countrymen. So striving for reforms, he is confronted by an abusive ecclesiastical hierarchy and the Spanish civil administration by turn indifferent and cruel. So the novel suggests through the plot developments that meaningful change in this context is exceedingly difficult, if not impossible. So a little trivia, and must I report again, of course, Ibarra was the only son of Don Rafael Ibarra, a friend of Capitan Tiago and a fiancée of beautiful Maria Clara, supposed daughter of Capitan Tiago. So let us begin with this story, the synopsis or the summary of the Noli Tangere. It begins upon his arrival with a dinner given in honor of Crisostomo Ibarra by Captain Tiago at his house in Cali Luwag on the last day of October. Ibarra, upon his arrival, produced a favorable impression among the guests, except for Padre Damaso, who was obviously very rude to him. Okay, so during the dinner, the conversation centered in Ibarra's studies and travels around abroad. Padre Damaso, who disliked Ibarra, was in a bad mood because he had a bony neck and a hard wing of the chicken tinola. So he tried to discredit Ibarra's remarks. So after dinner, Ibarra left Captain Tiago's house to return to his hotel. So on the way, the kind Lieutenant Guevara told him the sad story of his father's death in San Diego. So upon hearing this story, Ibarra thanked the kind Spanish lieutenant and vowed to find out the truth about the lieutenant's father's death. So the following morning, he visited his beloved Maria Clara. So after the romantic reunion with her, he went to San Diego to visit his father's grave. It was All Saints Day. So at the cemetery, the grave digger told Ibarra that the corpse of Don Rafael was removed by order of the parish priest to be buried in the Chinese cemetery. So, but the corpse was it was heavy and it was a dark and rainy night, so that the grave digger simply threw the corpse into the lake. So Ibarra was angered with the grave digger's story. He left the cemetery and along the way he met Padre Salvi. So Ibarra flushed and pounced the priest, demanding to be dressed for desecrating his father's mortal remains. Padre Salvi told him that he had nothing to do with it, for Padre Damaso, his predecessor, was the parish priest at that time and obviously was the responsible of it. So convinced of Padre Salvi's innocence, Ibarra then went away. Ibarra's enemies, particularly Padre Salvi, implicate him in a fake insurrection. So though the evidence against him is weak, Maria Clara betrays him to protect a dark family secret. So on her part, Maria Clara revealed that those letters were exchanged with a letter from her late mother, Pia Alba, which Padre Salvi gave her. So from his letter, she learned and knew that her real father was Padre Damaso. So Ibarra escapes from prison with Elias' help. Elias at that time, he learned about Ibarra's arrest, so he burned all the papers that might incriminate his friend and set Ibarra's house on fire. So this is when he went to prison to help Ibarra's escape and then therefore confronts Maria Clara. So in the tearful last scene between the two lovers, Ibarra forgave Maria Clara for giving up his letter to her to the Spanish authorities, who utilized them as evidence against him. So after bidding Maria Clara farewell, he and Elias flee to the lake but chased by a police boat with the Guardia Civil on board. Elias told Ibarra to hide under the zacket. So as the police boat was overtaking the banca, Elias jumped in the water and swam swiftly toward the shore. In this way, he diverted the attention of the soldiers on his person, so thereby giving Ibarra a chance to escape. So the soldier fired at the swimming Alias, who was hit and sunk. The water turned red because it was turned red because of Alias' blood. The soldiers, thinking that they had killed the fleeing Ibarra, returned to Manila. Thus Ibarra was able to, of course, he was able to escape by Alias' help. So to conclude, one dies while the other survives. Convinced Upon Ibarra's death, Maria Clara enters the nunnery, refusing a marriage arranged by Padre Damaso, his real father. So her unhappy fate and that of the more memorable Sisa, who was formerly a rich girl but became poor because she married a gambler and a wizard at that, driven mad and became crazy by the fate of her two boys, Basilio and Crispin, symbolize the country's condition, so at once beautiful and miserable. So for moving on from the story, using satire brilliantly, Rizal creates other memorable characters whose lives manifest the poisonous effects of religious and colonial oppression. Capitan Tiago, the social climber Doña Victorina de Espadanya and her toothless Spanish husband, the gorgeous civil head and his harridan of a wife, the sorority of devout women, the disaffected peasants forced to become outlaws in some a microcosm of Philippine society. So in the afflictions that plague, the result paints a Halloween picture of his beloved but suffering country in a work that speaks eloquently not just to Filipinos but all who have endured or witnessed oppression. The missing chapter of the Noli. It is a chapter entitled Alias and Salome, which follows the chapter in the woods. Was deleted by Rizal so that it was not included in the printed novel. His reason for doing so was it was definitely economic. By reducing the pages of the manuscript, the cost of printing would correspondingly be reduced. Okay, so this chapter concerns Salome, a young girl who lives alone on the edge of the lake. Oh, and Elias, the pilot of the boat used by Chrysostom Ibarra and his friends as they cruise the Laguna Lake. Salome has been waiting eagerly for Elias, expecting that he would come by the water, but he doesn't because he is hiding from the authorities who are patrolling the lake. So the two talk about the trip of Chrysostom Ibarra and his friends around the lake and of Salome's plan to move with her relatives in Mindoro. She asked Elias to come with her, but he does not want to cause her trouble due to his past. So he wants Salome to look for a good man and marry him. In short, Elias letting Salome go. So Salome weeps as she tells Elias to just live in her house instead. Elias leaves Salome and sleeps through the forest while she gazes after him obviously with sad eyes. So yes, another love story that ends in an unhappy ending in this novel, Noli Tangere.
The novel has an epilogue which recounts what happened to the other characters. Maria Clara, out her loyalty to the memory of Ibarra, the man she truly loved, entered the Santa Clara nunnery. After Ibarra was implicated in an attack using his farewell letter, Maria Clara holed herself up in her room suddenly by her impending marriage. Exiting to the balcony, she spotted Ibarra. Then he climbed the wall and the two said their tearful goodbyes. During their conversation, Maria Clara related to Ibarra why she had given up his farewell letter. Ibarra soon after escaped with Elias. Learning that Ibarra had been killed, Maria Clara became distraught. Visited by Padre Damaso, she begged him to let her become a nun in order to forget Ibarra, threatening to kill herself. With Padre Damaso reluctantly agreeing, Maria Clara entered the Santa Clara convent as a nun. Padre Salve left the parish of San Diego and became a chaplain of nunnery. Padre Salve regularly preaches and holds an important office. He ordered Padre Damaso to serve in a remote province. Padre Damaso was transferred to a remote province, but next morning he was found dead in his bedroom. Near the end of the novel, he and Maria Clara had dispute about her not marrying Alfonso Linares and her going to the convent or dying. This broke Padre Damaso's heart. By the end of the novel, he was transferred to another town to be its curate. He was later found dead in his bedroom due to unknown causes, possibly depression. Captain Tiago, the former host and generous patron of the church, became an opium addict and human wreck. He is deeply upset by Maria Clara's decision to become a nun. He stopped going to church and became addicted to opium and gambling. Doña Victorina, still henpecking poor Don Tobercio, had taken to wearing eyeglasses because of weakening eyesight. Doña Victorina, worse, as she tried harder to live the life of an Espinola, while the Españada was often seen without any false teeth. Linares, who failed to win Maria Clara's affection, died of dysentery and was buried in Paco Cemetery. After Ibarra and Maria Clara's love reunion, Linares failed to win Maria Clara's affection because the man she truly loved is Ibarra. The alferez, who successfully repulsed the abortive attack on the barracks, was promoted major. He returned to Spain, leaving his shabby wife, Doña Consolacion. A lot of people died near the lake when ship exploded on January 2, 1883. After the attack, the alferez promoted as major, and he returned to Spain, leaving his wife, Doña Consolacion. The novel ends with Maria Clara, an unhappy nun in Santa Clara Nunnery, forever lost in the world.
So what is the impact of Noli Me Tangere in our current society? After publication, Noli Me Tangere was considered to be one of the instruments that initiated Filipino nationalism, leading to the 1896 Philippine Revolution. The novel did not only awaken sleeping Filipino awareness, but also establish the grounds for aspiring to independence. What was Rizal's main reason why he wrote the Noli Me Tangere? Rizal was studying for medicine. While in German, Rizal wrote the second half of Noli Me Tangere from time to time starting February 21, 1887. After he read the novel Uncle Tom's Cabin by Harriet Beecher Stowe. The book tells us the story of Uncle Tom depicted as a saintly, dignified slave. In other words, this novel is all about anti-slavery. Rizal had an inspiration to write his own novel with the same topic, to expose Spanish colonial abuse in print. Why is Noli Me Tangere banned in the past? Noli Me Tangere was created by Dr. Jose Rizal to reveal the anomalous act of the conquerors back in the Spanish era. It was prohibited during Rizal's time because they were hiding unlawful acts from the Spanish government. Noli Me Tangere shows the revolution and wake-up call for every Filipinos against the vulgar Spaniards who brought the religion of Roman Catholic in the Philippines. What can we learn from Noli Me Tangere? Understanding the theme of Filipino novel Noli Me Tangere, Filipinos gain freedom from Spanish. They learn social climbers, abusive power, family devotion, self-sacrifice, purity and faithfulness, patriotism, and references. Why is Noli Me Tangere called the social cancer? In the novel's dedication, Rizal explained that there was once a type of cancer that if you touch it, it was so painful. The book is also known as social cancer. It is called like that because there was once a type of cancer that is so terrible that the sufferer could not bear to be touched. And this disease, thus called Noli Me Tangere, in Latin, do not touch me. He believed that his homeland was similarly afflicted. What is the main message of Noli Me Tangere? The Noli is therefore not merely an attack on the Spanish colonial regime, it is a charter nationalism. It calls on the Filipino to recover his self-confidence, to appreciate his own worth, to retain the heritage of his ancestor, to assert himself as the equal of the Spaniard.